today from the Garden of Eden to show you a new bracelet which we call the Sparkle Factor bracelet. Now the Sparkle Factor bracelet is a new take on our leather and chain bracelet that you may have already seen the YouTube for. What we do is add in this 6.5 inch piece of rhinestone chain, which then gives it the sparkle factor. To do this bracelet, we're going to use 6.5 inches of rhinestone chain, 2 7-inch pieces of medium-sized Rollo chain, and 4.5 feet of leather. Oh, we're also going to be doing it today on the bracelet board, but we're only going to be using the one clip. So let's get started. So to get started, I'm going to take a jump ring using my pliers. I'm going to hook the 2 pieces of Rollo chain together. This is simply to give me a better angle to make it a little easier to hook it on this clip. So now I take the 4.5 feet of leather and I'm going to go through the very first 2 rings, and I want to center the leather. Now what we're actually doing is going through every other set of links. I've gotten into the habit of starting with my right hand. I'm going to go from right to left through the rings that are standing vertical, pulling up the tension. Now taking the one on the left and going through from left to right through those rings. To make it a little bit easier to have a nice clean shot of going through the rings with your leather, I kind of push back that first piece of leather in there, and then that gives me a nice clean shot on the second piece. So we have our first set there. Now I'm going to go one more time, going from right to left through the jump rings that are vertical. I switch hands, pull it with my left hand. Now taking the one on the left, and before I attempt to go through, just give that piece a little push back so it gives you a nice clean shot, and I'm going to pull it through. The most important thing in making this bracelet is make sure that your previous section, that the cord is not sticking out. You want it right up against the rings. Now I'm going to go ahead and add in my sparkle factor. I'm going to open this up, the chain. I'm going to separate my cord, and I'm going to tuck the rhinestone chain in between the 2 pieces of cord. Placing the rhinestone chain right in between my 2 rings. Now we're ready to go. I'm going to take my cord on the right and I'm going to go through the link under the rhinestone chain and through the link and pull through. Switching hands, I'm going to take the one on the left, go through the link and over the rhinestone chain and through the link. Remembering to look at the previous section to make sure that everything is pretty even and snuggy. You're going to continue this about 18 times, so it gets pretty easy. Going from my right to left, pulling through, I switch hands, pull up, taking the one on the left, going through the chain, over the rhinestone chain, and then through the Rollo chain. Now it is important to always start with the same side so that all your cords are running nice and in the same direction. So whether you start with your left or whether you start with your right, it doesn't matter, just be consistent. I always start with my right, going again through the link, under the rhinestone chain, and through the link, through the link, over the rhinestone chain, and through the link. Do this all the way to the end, and I'll show you how to finish it off. So we are now at the end of the bracelet. To finish it off properly, you're going to need to have here 3 links of chain past the rhinestone chain. And the last ones, of course, do need to be vertical. So I'm going to go through the section that is just past the rhinestone chain from my right to left, pull up. Then I'm going to go from left to right again through this set of rings. And then one more time for the end, from my right to left. So don't pull up the tension too tight on that last section where the rhinestone is. Tuck the rhinestone in there, and you just want to pull it that tight. Then you can pull the very last section a little bit tighter. So going from my left to right, I'm going through the chain. And our weaving is done. So now I'm going to take the bracelet off the clip, sorry, and I'm going to remove the jump ring. And how we close off this bracelet is by feeding the last bit of the strings through the very first 2 rings, crossing them over. So you're actually going to have 3 cords going through your very first 2 rings. So this is the end of the bracelet. Now something that's a little bit tricky, but not too hard, is sizing this bracelet. I'm going to open these up, and I know personally for me to get over my hand, it's slightly over 1 inch of space that I need here. But how you'll measure that is by sliding it on your hand and holding it at the very thickest part of your hand. And you can pull these up to adjust them. Now I know that this is where I need to tie my knots, right here at the end. I do prefer to make it a little bit on the snuggy side where I have to kind of cram it over my hand, because I don't like my strings to be long. I'm cool with just like a little bit over 1 inch. So I know this is a good size for me. So I'm going to slide it off my hand. And now is the time where you could just tie knots here, or you could slide a bead on and tie a knot. Something I'm going to do that I like to do because it totally matches the bracelet, I'll cut 2 extra links, 2 together. And then what I do is I tuck them into each other like they're like this, and I tuck them back like that. And I call it a love knot. And I'm now going through, putting those 2 links on lastly. Now I'm going to tie a knot, just so there's a little something something hanging on the ends of the cord. And I'm going to pull my knot up to meet right up to the 2 links. So now I'm taking the 2 links of chain, dropping 1 link back into the other, and sliding through my cord. And now I'm going to tie just an overhand knot. I'm going to try and get that knot right up to my links. And how I adjust my knots to get them right where I want them is I really pull with these back fingers, and I guide with my index and my thumb. So pulling with my back fingers, guiding with my index and my thumb, I'm going to get that knot right where I want it. Pull it nice and tight. I suppose you could put a little bit of glue on that knot if you like, just to be double sure it's not going to come undone. Now I'm going to cut it just about 1/8 of an inch past my knot. And I have my bracelet.
Show me a new day and I'll give you a smile. Make me live without you and I'll deceive my soul. Tell me that you'll always.
Thank you for watching our YouTube today. I really think that YouTubes are wonderful, but if you'd like to see a demonstration of this bracelet done in person, you can check with the Southern California Local Bead Store Association to see if your favorite store will be participating in our Beaders Night Out on May 3rd. Beaders Night Out is the first 20 customers that come to the store will be given this bracelet, or rather the kit, for free, and then we'll show you how to put the bracelet together. Thank you very much, and happy beading.
And I deceive my soul. Tell me that you'll always love me, and I'll never look back. Share my every tomorrow.